I want to start with setting, okay? Because even though we know that setting is, of course, the when and the where, the circumstances of a story, there is a lot more to it than that. The place is obvious, where the story takes place. The time, of course, is also obvious. When did it happen? And that's not just time of day. It could be time of year. It could be time of the century. Where was it and when did it take place? Circumstances. We know about that too. We've talked about it briefly. The customs, the beliefs. What about political and social situations? That's all part of the setting. But here's the surprise. Setting also creates expectations. Interesting, isn't it? Let's take a look now at an example of setting from a story that we've read, Stephen Crane's The Great Mistake, all right? Do you remember the story now? The Italian sitting at the fruit stand, the little boy that is looking at the wonderful fruit and now finally gets the courage up to take something, okay? And that's another whole idea, another whole adventure going through that plot. But I want to focus on setting, okay? We'll be looking at when, where, and the circumstances of the action. Remember, we're talking about place. We're talking about time. Different now, right? It could be time of day. It could be time of century. We're talking about the circumstances now, the social, the political, whatever comes to bear in the story. And sometimes that is even part of the plot, is the social situation that the characters are in. And also remember, we said that setting will create expectations. And notice that. You expect certain things because of the setting. Let's look now at some details on this from A Great Mistake. What do we know about the setting? What do we know about the place? Right off the bat, we have an Italian kept a fruit stand on a corner. Okay, we are on a corner now. We have a fruit stand there, right? And people come down from an elevated station, another landmark there, right? And they go along two thronged streets. So we're in a very busy place, aren't we? The streets are thronged. We're at a corner where the elevated station comes down. Makes it ideal if you're selling fruit. You can get a lot of people. But what also does that tell us now? We are in a city, obviously, but it's a city that has an elevated station. Let's look a little bit more at that, okay? Also, though, nearby we have a little babe that lives up 5 flights of stairs. So we have probably some kind of an apartment building, don't we? And it's pretty close to this corner. So maybe the conditions are a little bit crowded. Would you say that? Possibly. So is this place in Italy? Did you think so? Well, we have an Italian, so it could be in Italy, right? But think about that. If it was in Italy, would the author mention that we have an Italian selling fruit? If we were in Italy, everyone would be Italian, most likely, or most everyone. So the author wouldn't point that out, wouldn't call our character an Italian, probably. So we can probably rule out Italy as the location of this story. Some other busy city, and it could be in a lot of different places. It would have to be a place that had an elevated a train. It would have to be a place that allowed fruit stands, that was busy. So that kind of gives us some clues, doesn't it, as to where it took place. And time can help us know where and when this took place as well. Elevated stations didn't exist forever, right? So it had to be set in a time that had trains running overhead. What else do we know? We hear this little line here, his fingers were gripped in a fold of his dress. This is the little babe. Okay, we have almost a time bracket here now. This babe is wearing a dress. Okay, little kids don't wear dresses anymore, do they? But in a certain time period, both boys and girls wore the same kind of clothes. They wore dresses. They called them dresses or skirts. So we're talking about something that didn't happen right now, but that happened since the advent of elevators, which was in the early 1900s. So that kind of gives us a time bracket, doesn't it? It's kind of good to know when this took place. What about the circumstances? Did you pick anything up on the circumstances? Let me point you to this line right here. He sat most of the day in a backless chair that was placed strategically. This is our Italian. And then the babe, at last he had come near enough to touch the fruit. From the tattered skirt came slowly his small, dirty hand. What do you get? Are these rich people? If he was a rich man, the Italian probably wouldn't be sitting in a backless chair, would he? Did you envision maybe someone that wasn't very rich? And the fact that he has a fruit stand, he probably is not the best off, even though the babe looked at him as being the most wondrous person with all of these possessions. And what about the babe? Here we have a tattered skirt and a dirty hand. So we kind of get a feel that maybe these people, these characters, are in a lower social economic station, and that will help us know what the author's message is. I'd like you to do some more work now looking at the setting of this piece.